Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hey, Howard Jacobson here with Sick to Fit and Plant Yourself, and I'm with
the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Cool. So I want to talk to you today about motivation and ways in which motivation can be harmful or toxic. I know you start when you work with someone on assessing their motivation and really kind of sort of ramping it up, like creating potential energy to start them off strong. Mm-hmm. I'm doing less and less of that as I coach, and I'd love to get your thoughts on when motivation is helpful and when it becomes unhelpful, or when the belief that you need motivation can become unhelpful.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to say more about it, or do you want me to opine?
Opine.
Okay. Have you read B.J. Fogg's work, Tiny Habits?
I haven't finished the book. Actually, I haven't started the book, but I did his course.
Okay.
So I do know his model.
He's got like an action curve, which has to do with the presence of a prompt, your ability, and your motivation. When you put those three things together, you get a behavior, right?
Right.
And the problem with motivation is that it's often fleeting. It's temporary. It's helpful, but it's not always there. When you can increase people's ability to perform a helpful behavior or decrease their ability to perform a harmful behavior, you can do that more permanently. And when you can remove the prompt, like sometimes in the beginning of learning to give up a substance, for example, I will tell people not to drive past the bakery that they would normally drive through or take a different route home. I will tell them that when they go out to dinner, they should put Vicks Vapor Rub on their nose so that the stimulus, the prompt for overeating, is not there to stimulate the behavior. I ultimately see behavior as a matter of character, and just deciding to become the kind of person who does this or doesn't do that. It doesn't matter how motivated I am to be a good person in society in a particular day. I don't go kick old ladies in the tush outside, regardless of my motivation that day. It's just not the kind of person that I am. And so I think that ultimately we're trying to install these kind of automatic rules inside of us that fire whether we are in the mood or not. And so that's why I say when the pig says, we don't care, it'll make you think you're saying, I don't care, I'm just going to binge. I will say, well, I don't care that you don't care, pig, because I do care. But more importantly, I don't have to care. I just have to do the right thing.
I was part of a discussion of a bunch of like pretty high-powered coaches, and we were talking about what gets in the way of people changing behaviors and how we can help them, and like what are the dynamics. I was surprised how many of them were defaulting to motivation as the cure. Like you really got to remind the person of their why. They have to switch from saying I want to I must. And I kept thinking like this misses the point at a certain point. Well, you want to know at the beginning, like, yeah, I do care about this. I'm willing to pay, right? It's not just write me a check, but I'm willing to pay life, right? I'm willing to sacrifice certain things. I'm willing to spend time on it. But as you said, what we're looking for is automaticity. My friend Peter Bregman, who I'm writing a book with, he talks about what most people think of as motivation problems are follow-through problems. And the important distinction is that a motivation problem you solve by thinking, right? So if someone's, I'm not motivated, we will do a motivational interview with them. We'll ask them, like, what's important about this? We'll ask them what happens if they don't achieve it. We're getting them to think. He says, but a follow-through problem, the solution to that is to not think. is just to do the thing, to follow those steps automatically.
Interesting. In some ways, when you're thinking, you're giving the pig a chance to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Take it a step further for me. When do you think that motivation is appropriate, and when do you think that you want to ignore the motivation and focus on the other elements of behavior?
Motivation is like oxygen. It's only important when we don't have enough of it.
Got it. So it's necessary but not sufficient.
Right. I think about this like money too. There's all these studies of money and happiness. And the curve is pretty much up and to the right until about $72,000. And then it either levels off entirely. There's no correlation beyond that, beyond a certain amount of money between money and happiness.
Right.
Or the correlation is people who are naturally happy get happier with money, and people who are naturally unhappy get unhappier with money. But on average, there's no correlation past a certain point. And so there's a lot of people out there who think more money will bring them more happiness. And it becomes very dysfunctional for them, for their family, and I would argue for civilization as a whole. This need to fill all the holes with money.
Kind of like going to a restaurant when you're thirsty and saying, "Bring me 2 gallons of water." You're not going to need much more than a glass or two.
Right. To take motivation as the solution to everything, to me, is like trying to take money as the solution to everything. Motivation solves motivation problems. But we live in such a judgmental society in which your state is the thing that you can bootstrap. Everything that we do wrong is they weren't thinking right about it, didn't want it enough. It can be so toxically judgmental that we internalize this idea that whatever is wrong with me, it's a matter of either motivation, or we can generalize it into character. How many people have told you this? Like, I'm just lazy, or I'm undisciplined, or I guess I just don't care. You must hear that.
Day in and day out.
Day in and day out.
What's the solution?
When you worked with me, we started on a really simple thing, just learning the rules. Cliff Bars was the second thing we worked on. The first thing was I taped a note to my electric toothbrush reminding me to be sure that I spent some time thinking about what I could eat the next day.
I remember that.
It literally took 4 seconds. Okay, yeah, I got it. We're hoarders. We have 2 freezers. There was plenty of food.
It was actually the moment, by the way, that I figured out that it was necessary to push people to 100% confidence. That last leap was always a leap of faith. You could never feel it, but you had to claim it.
Yeah.
That was a pivotal session for me.
Oh, good. Good.
The problem is that when you emphasize motivation as a solution to everything, then people think they don't have the right character. There must be something wrong with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you did with me was you said, here's a simple step. So what we want to do, I think, is prove to people that they can take action even when they don't feel like it. So I want to start with something that's going to be like a 99 to 100% surety. I used to coach people to say, let's give you something that's going to be challenging that you can succeed 4 out of 5 times. Like we're going for a B-. And my thought in that was, that's a good place to go because it's just challenging enough. There's some research on that, like that's sort of a sweet spot. And when you fail, you can grow from it. You still want to have some skin in the game and make it a little bit challenging. Now, when people start, this is what I say to them. I said, I want you to come up with your plan. And then I used to say, so on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being totally confident and 1 being, I'm sure I'm not going to do it, where are you? Now I say, would you be willing to bet a painful sum of money on yourself? And I got this from a book, Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. And the idea is like, life is a series of bets, and the way we act will show us and other people what we really think. If you and I are philosophizing, we say, well, I think it's possible to levitate. And then I take you to the top of the Empire State Building and say, okay, Glenn, Mr. Levitating is possible. Show me.
Right.
So I want people to have that experience of, okay, I'm going to eat a baby carrot with every lunch. I don't care how unmotivated I am. Would you bet on yourself for that? And then they start to see, okay, so there is a way in which I can do things that I don't feel like doing in the moment. Now, how do I do that? What has to be in place? It's not motivation. It's BJ Fogg's prompt. It's, are there baby carrots in the house? Is it, how do I remember to get the baby carrot? Is it a note on the fridge? Is it a reminder on my phone?
Right.
Is it, I put the baby carrot on top of my sandwich before I go to bed, so it's there in the morning and I can't miss it?
And are they ready-made and peeled so that my ability to eat them is real quick and easy?
Right, right. And do I like baby carrots?
Yeah.
Or can I tolerate baby carrots? Are they going to make me puke? Once people understand, we do things that we would rather not do in the moment. And like most of us who are not trust fund babies have to do this for work. Even you and me who are like living our dream, there's stuff we have to do that we would rather not do.
Absolutely.
And I think people get that around every aspect of their lives except their health behaviors. It's a revelation when I say, so what do you do for a living? I do such and such. This was before the pandemic. I say, so you go to work in the morning? I said, yep, every weekday. So, but on mornings where you don't feel like it, you'll just call in sick, right? No. Oh, I don't have to want to do it to do it.
That's a really good intervention. I'm going to borrow that if that's okay.
Of course. We're taping, so the world can borrow it.
The world can borrow it. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Is there any other way that you help people succeed without motivation?
Yes, this gets a little meta. As you and I know, being the person we want to be is a huge high, right? Being in integrity and living your values is way better than any drug.
Mm-hmm.
That's a kind of motivation that you can have, especially when you have no motivation. So I teach my clients that not having motivation is actually a beautiful opportunity because that's when you make the most progress.
That's when character shines through.
It shines through. It's also when the muscles get developed. In our program, we have a concept of the fight through, which I borrowed from a book called Organize Tomorrow Today. And they talk about 3 stages of habit formation. First is honeymoon, where it's a new thing, you're entranced, you've got all this energy, right? You're doing your 6 hours a day, and you can do it. And then the third stage is second nature. You don't put any energy into it. It's just who you are. The second stage, the question is, how do you get from honeymoon to second nature? You don't get there except through what they call fight through, because second nature only comes about through challenge, through struggle. And so if you're motivated to do it, you're building the habit, you're building automaticity, but it's not really laying down deep tracks. When you lay down a deep track is when you really don't feel like it, and you do it anyway.
So if you only were in front of chocolate cake when you were exceptionally full and satisfied, then you don't really have the opportunity to become someone who doesn't eat chocolate cake. You're not going to be tempted. In order to become someone who doesn't eat chocolate cake, you need to be in front of chocolate cake when you're hungry or haven't had anything sweet after dinner or whatever else normally tempts you, so that you can fight through that moment and make the muscle stronger.
Precisely.
Another way that I say that is the only way to kill a craving is to have a craving. The craving has to be active for you to have an opportunity to develop new neural pathways in the presence of that craving.
Right. There's a concept that I got from behavioral economist Dan Ariely. He was interested in why people did CrossFit. He would watch people do CrossFit and he's like, these people are miserable.
Yeah.
And they're complaining to each other. And they're commiserating and they're bragging about how bad they hurt and how awful the workout was.
I did it for 3 years, so I
Right.
know.
He also sees this among like triathletes. There's tribes, and he calls it benign masochism. And the idea is that feeling bad feels good if you choose to let it. And especially if you're in a culture, a subculture where that's true. Like, okay, I'm totally unmotivated right now. I can get really excited about this is an opportunity to do something that's hard. You know, we call it the mother of all fight throughs. I wake up today with 0 motivation. All I want to do is give in and listen to the pig. Boy, today is going to be a special day on my journey. So we can actually turn 0 motivation into incredible motivation.
This is the opportunity you've been waiting for.
Yes.
The only way out is through. This is when the door opens up to a new life. It's a hard concept for people to get because people think that there's something wrong if they're having cravings. People think that that's an indication that they're weak of character, but it's actually the fact that they're having the craving and not acting on the craving is an indication that they're strong in character and have an opportunity to build it.
Right. I can't remember where this is from. It might have been an old Woody Allen line where he wrote a short story way back in the day when you could still like Woody Allen about like tales of the Hasidic masters, the sort of takeoff, a satire on the genre of Jewish wisdom tales about Eastern European rabbis.
Right.
And it was something like, the blessed rabbi of Lvov used to confound the evil urge by giving in without a fight.
I see. I always remember Woody Allen for saying that he wouldn't want to be a member of any club that would have him for a member.
Oh, I thought that was Groucho.
Was that Groucho Marx? I thought it was Woody Allen.
Now we need people to comment.
You're better with quotes than I am. You're probably right. This was great today. This was fun.
Cool. Thank you.
Do it again in a couple of weeks.
I'd love to.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.